my name is Madeline and welcome back to my channel, Cozy Cottage Chapters, and welcome to my May TBR video. I am so excited to sit down with you and talk about my May hopes and reading plans. I have just been delighting so much in this spring season. I've just been loving waking up each day and noticing the new flowers that are blooming and just the small little differences that happen each day living in the countryside in springtime. That has just been really delightful. I've been reading some nice books that have lots of spring kind of vibes to them, and I'm just really looking forward to May being another really stellar reading month with some really good books. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about my plans, my hopes, the books I am interested in getting to. As always, these TBRs are held pretty loosely. I, reserve the right to change my mind and go in a totally different direction and read other things, but these are just the things that I'm interested in right now. So I think we'll get started by going through my reading challenges for the year. I have 3, and I'll talk about kind of what I'm thinking about reading for those prompts to fulfill those challenges. So first up is Chantel's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, and the word for this month is favorite. So each month the prompt is one word, and you can use that word to kind of inspire your reading choice for the month. So I'm taking it favorite author, and one of my favorite authors is L.M. Montgomery. I absolutely adore everything I've read from her so far, which is just the Anne series, and then last summer I read Jane of Lantern Hill and really loved that. I have not read the Emily books yet, and I got them for Christmas, so I want to get to them pretty soon. So this is also Tammy from Protagonist Pub's book club pick for the month, so I thought this is perfect. I can kind of double dip this one book to fulfill kind of 2 prompts, 2 things going on, and I'm really excited about it. The back of this says, when Emily's father dies, she is left in the care of her mother's family. She is a stranger to them, though, and they don't want responsibility for the heartbroken, headstrong girl. It is eventually decided that Emily should be sent to live at New Moon Farm with stern Aunt Elizabeth, head of the Murray clan, kind Aunt Laura, and eccentric cousin Jimmy. Emily is enchanted by New Moon, but cannot believe she will ever belong there. Before long, though, she has made firm friends. Ilse, a tomboy with a blazing temper, Teddy, an aspiring artist, and Perry, the ambitious houseboy. Emily brings so much life to New Moon that even Aunt Elizabeth might one day wonder how they ever lived without her. I'm so excited about this. I feel like there's something great about reading L.M. Montgomery in the springtime. Her books just have always such beautiful nature writing and descriptions of the natural world, and I'm really, really looking forward to this. Also, I just love these Virago editions, and the design always kind of continues onto the back. I think they're absolutely beautiful books, and I'm so excited for this. The other reading challenges I'm doing is the Classics Reading Challenge hosted by Anne, and the prompt for this month is to reread a favorite, so that goes along really well with the prompt of favorite. And I could have chosen one book to read for both of these prompts, but I knew I would be reading Emily of New Moon anyway for the book club, so I wanted to use it for that. Honest, I am not really sure what I want to reread this month. Rereading was one of my goals for 2025, and I've been doing not super great at it, to be honest. Have I reread anything? I'm not even sure if I've reread anything yet. I don't want to be too ambitious in making this TBR and just load myself up with a lot of books that I know I probably won't get to, so I don't want to choose something super long. I'm interested in rereading Pride and Prejudice and Emma, but honestly I don't think I'm going to be able to manage that and the other books I really want to get to this month. So I'm going to take a look behind me, take a look on my Kindle, see if I can find something for this prompt. I took a little browse on my shelves. I mean, has to be a classic book to fulfill this prompt. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's a classics reading challenge. So I am like slightly limited, in what I'm reading. And I don't want to read a super big classic this month because I have a really big classic that I'm working my way through that I will share later. But anyways, I looked at my bookshelf and this book stood out to me because I remember loving it. I remember really enjoying this book, and I've read some other things, well, one other book by this author, and really enjoyed that one. But this one, I don't remember really anything about, and I want to reread it because I don't remember much about this story, honestly. And that is My Antonia, or My Antonia, I think it's Antonia. I never know how to pronounce this one. But this is the first book I read by Willa Cather, and I remember just loving her writing style. Again, her descriptions of nature were so beautiful. Symphonically powerful and magnificently observed novel, Willa Cather created one of the most winning heroines in American fiction, a woman whose calm, undemonstrative strength and robust high spirits make her emblematic of the virtues Cather most admired in her country. Antonia Shimerda is the daughter of Bohemian immigrant parents struggling with the oceanic loneliness of life on the Nebraska prairie. Through the eyes of Jim Burden, her tutor and disappointed admirer, we follow Antonia from farm to town as she survives hardships, both natural and human, from hard-scrabble poverty to a failed romance, and not only survives, but triumphs. I'm so excited about this. A very small, compact book. How many pages does it have? It has over 300 pages, 325 pages. So it's not super short, but like, you know, the book is small. So I think this will be a reasonable pick that I can finish this month. The last reading challenge that I'm participating in is the Read Catholic Fiction Challenge hosted by Tammy from Protagonist Pub. And honestly, I don't have a front runner book that I really want to pick up. I am toying with maybe starting a Kindle Unlimited subscription either this month or next month. You can do those 3 months for 99 cents or something like that deal. And so I want to kind of do that at some point, but I have some things I want to read first on my Kindle before I jump into reading Kindle Unlimited books. So I might do that at some point this month and read something that I have on my list of Catholic fiction books that are on Kindle Unlimited. I have some classics and things that I would like to get to, but like I said, I don't really have anything in mind. So we're just going to kind of see where the month takes me. Hopefully I will read something to fulfill that prompt. Okay, so those are the challenges I have. I guess now we can just jump into the books that I have carrying over from last month. I'm not going to talk too much about these because I talked about them last month in my TBR. So first up, I have on my Kindle, I am halfway through it right now. There are a couple of days left in the month, so I'll make a little bit more progress, but I'm definitely not going to finish it. And that is The Robe by Lloyd C. Douglas. I'm really enjoying this so far. This is historical fiction set during the time of Jesus, and we are basically following this Roman soldier who was present at the crucifixion of Jesus and who gambled and won Jesus's garments. And it is the story of what happens after that. This book does such a good job of just kind of plunging you into the setting, and you feel just so immersed in the story. I'm really loving it. I'm loving all of the different characters and just seeing this character's really slow development and conversion, and you follow him over this kind of long journey, and it's really beautiful, really well done. I'm enjoying it a lot, but it is very long, so I am not going to finish it this month. My other carryover is Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. I should be about halfway by the end of this month. I'm very close. I'm on chapter 27, I think, maybe 27. I'm enjoying this so much. I'm buddy reading this with Miriam, and we're both just loving this book. Elizabeth Gaskell just has such a beautiful way of writing, not only her descriptions of nature, but of people and their interactions. I love her characters so much. There are, characters that are easier to love than others, but even the characters that are maybe not your favorite, you still sympathize with them and you can still see where they're coming from, which I really like. And I'm just enjoying this story so much. Things are starting to pick up, and I'm really eager to see where we go in this. Every month when I make my TBR, I inevitably don't read all the books on my TBR, which is totally fine. I'm totally okay with that. I don't expect to read all of these books. But sometimes I get to the next month and I'm like, oh, I still am really interested in some of those books from last month. Like I didn't have the time to read them. It's not that I wasn't interested in reading them, I just ran out of time. And so I want to try to start a new thing where I incorporate some of the books that I did not get to in the previous month into my next month, the ones that I'm still excited and interested in. This isn't meant to like force myself to read all of the books on my TBR, it's just meant to kind of give myself the grace that if you don't get to a book in a month, it's okay, you can recycle it into the next month. You know, and I don't have to come up with a new list of books each month. It's okay if there's some rollover. 2 books that I didn't get to last month that I'm still really interested in. The first is Howl's Moving Castle. I talked about this again last month, so I'm not going to talk about it a lot here, but this book to me seems to have a lot of spring cottagecore kind of vibes to it, and I really want to read it. And this would be one that I read on my Kindle, so I feel like I'm more likely to get to it and pick it up because I have a lot of physical books right now. Once I finish The Robe, I think this will be one of the first books I try to pick up on my Kindle and read pretty quickly. The other is The Code of the Woosters by P.G. Wodehouse. I feel like no spring, summer is complete without some P.G. Wodehouse, and unfortunately I just didn't have the time, like I said, last month to read it, so maybe I can get to it this month. I do have kind of quite the stack of physical books to read, I feel, so, you know, we'll see. Again, no pressure, but this is one that still interests me and I want to pick up at some point this spring or summer. And my last physical book I have to share with you, this is totally different direction, but I want to try to have some sort of spiritual reading, some sort of Catholic book that I'm reading at all times. I don't have to read it quickly, I don't have to finish it in a month, but I want something that I can pick up, you know, a little bit at a time, just kind of take my time. I enjoyed having that for Lent. You know, I didn't read it particularly quickly, but that's okay. So anyway, with the recent death of Pope Francis, I thought it would be the perfect time to pick up this book that I have not yet read, and that is De Pauvres Pape du Pape Monde. Obviously, this is in French. I don't know if there's an English translation to it. If there is, I will leave it linked below. But basically, this is a dialogue, a conversation that Pope Francis had with a group of people from the Czar Association, which is a French association runs houses that are shared between young professional workers and formerly homeless people. They all live together in this house. You know, they live this kind of communal lifestyle. Everything is shared. You know, they're living together. It's this really awesome, amazing organization. My sister-in-law was involved with. Well, she still is quite involved with them, honestly. And this is a conversation that some of the formerly homeless people had with Pope Francis in 2020. They transcribed it all and turned it into this book. So it is literally like a transcription. You see, you know, each person, what they say, and I'm excited to kind of sink into this. I don't read a lot in French, to be honest. It's kind of a goal I have to try to read more. I don't want to force myself because I find reading to be my source of enjoyment and pleasure, and I don't want it to become like homework. But I do like reading spiritual reading, Catholic things in French because I, you know, already have some base knowledge, and I just find that it's not as challenging for me as reading a novel. A novel feels more like work. I have to struggle a little bit more with it, whereas this, I can just open it and kind of sink into it and don't have to think as much, if that makes sense. So I'm excited to read it. My husband read it a couple years ago and enjoyed it. So yeah. All right, that is it for physical books. Now on to ebooks. I have one that I'm really excited to read. I know I'm going to read it because it kind of perfectly aligns with a vacation that we are going on in a couple of weeks. We are going to a forest in Brittany. Inspired a lot of Arthurian and legend. It's very medieval, very kind of historic, and I'm really excited about that. And so I wanted to have something kind of special to read that would put me in the mood and atmosphere of this location. And I picked up this book on Kindle a while ago. It was free, and that is The Door to Camelot by Susanna Roundtree. The description of this says, what if King Arthur had a daughter? Blanche was an ordinary girl in 1900 England until the night crashed through her door. Now her guardian says she's a princess lost in time. Now her father's enemies want her dead. Raised in the wild, Percival has never known his father. Hoping for answers, he sets out to pledge his sword to the legendary King Arthur Pendragon, but dark forces threaten Camelot, and darker secrets fester behind the legend. Sparks fly when Percival steals a kiss from the strange damsel he finds in the forest. Blanche doesn't trust this brash young knight, but as assassins close in, he might be her only chance of survival. All right, sounds interesting, and I'm like going through the reviews, and Christina Baer, who wrote the Ormdale books, The Secrets of Ormdale, gave this book 5 stars. So that seems like really high praise, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, I'm also in the mood for some mystery. I have not read much of that this year. I haven't read any of the Maisie Dobbs books, and I really enjoy that series. So I'm up to book 10, and that is Leaving Everything Most Loved. Let's see what this one says. I don't think it's going to be too spoilery, just in the description. But the year is 1933. Maisie Dobbs is contracted by an Indian gentleman who has come to England in the hopes of finding out who killed his sister 2 months ago. Scotland Yard failed to make any arrest in the case, and there is reason to believe they failed to conduct a thorough investigation. The case becomes even more challenging when another Indian woman is murdered just hours before a scheduled interview. Meanwhile, unfinished business from a previous case becomes a distraction, as does a new development in Maisie's personal life. Then it says, bringing a crucial chapter in the life and times of Maisie Dobbs to a close, Leaving Everything Most Loved marks a pivotal moment in this outstanding mystery series. Okay, I'm excited. I really enjoy these mysteries. These are just really good palate cleanser kind of books for me. I just immediately get sucked into them and can't put them down. So I know that that will come in handy at some point this month to just kind of change my mind, change up what I'm reading a little bit. All right, looking at my stack, that feels like a pretty good number of books. Of course, leaving room for mood reading and just other things that strike my fancy kind of as the month goes along. I mentioned I might at some point do Kindle Unlimited, so that would definitely kind of open up a lot of things that I've been interested in reading and just haven't gotten to yet. If you do have Kindle Unlimited or have any recommendations of books that I should read on Kindle Unlimited, let me know below. I'm very interested in reading the Emma and Lion books, so I might just kind of binge my way through those. But if there's anything else that you would recommend, do let me know, please. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye!